Alabama has a long and controversial history of capital punishment. In recent years, 5 women have been sentenced to death in this state. Their cases, each unique and harrowing, not only reveal the grim details of their crimes but also reflect deeper issues within society and the legal system. We begin our story by exploring the background and circumstances that led these women to death row. Our first case is that of Patricia Blackmon, convicted for the death of her 2-year-old adopted daughter, Dominiqua Bryant. Patricia's case stands out for its brutal details. Court documents and autopsy reports confirm that Dominiqua suffered a fractured skull, multiple broken bones, and other severe injuries. The evidence painted a picture of extreme violence against the most vulnerable, a young child whose short life was cut tragically short. Despite arguments from Patricia's defense that the victim's age should be a mitigating factor, her appeal reached the Supreme Court, which ultimately denied her petition. In Patricia's case, we witness how a personal tragedy spirals into a legal battle that reverberates through the community. Next, we turn to the case of Tierra Capri Gobble, convicted for the death of her 4-month-old son, Phoenix Cody Parrish. Medical reports detailed extensive trauma to the infant, with injuries consistent with severe abuse. Phoenix's case is marked by the stark brutality inflicted upon an innocent child. The records show a chain of events so harrowing that they have left a lasting impact on all who followed the trial. Tierra's life and her actions, though condemned by the legal system, unfold as a somber narrative about the breakdown of a family and the devastating consequences that can follow. The third story in our narrative is that of Leanne Graham. In a case that unfolded on July 5, 2007, Lisa was convicted of capital murder for her role in persuading a family friend to commit the killing of her own daughter. The murder took place on a remote dirt road in Russell County. What makes Lisa's case particularly disturbing is the calculated nature of her crime. She orchestrated the act through manipulation rather than direct violence. This method of influencing another person to commit murder adds a disturbing layer to her story, where cold calculation met a tragic loss that rippled through a community. Our fourth subject is Heather Leavell-Keaton. In a series of events during 2010, Heather was convicted of murdering the children of her common-law husband, Chase and Natalie. The children, barely out of early childhood, were victims in a crime that shocked the public. The evidence presented in court described a series of actions that led to their deaths, leaving behind a trail of questions about domestic violence and family disintegration. Heather's case is a somber reminder of how volatile and destructive domestic environments can become when personal conflicts escalate into irreversible violence. The final chapter in our Alabama narrative is that of Christie Michelle Scott. In August 2008, a devastating blaze broke out at Christie's home, resulting in the death of her 6-year-old son, Mason. Investigations later determined that the fire was not an accident but rather the outcome of deliberate actions. The tragedy of losing a child in such a catastrophic manner is almost unimaginable, and Christie's case is steeped in details that underscore the interwoven elements of family tragedy and the harsh consequences of capital punishment. Her case, like the others, is not merely about the crime committed but also about a series of events that reflect a troubled past and a system that now holds her accountable in the most severe manner. Each of these cases, Patricia Blackmon, Tierra Capri Gobble, Leanne Graham, Heather Leavell-Keaton, and Christie Michelle Scott, illustrates a distinct narrative of loss and legal consequence. Their stories, while individual in their circumstances, share common threads of familial breakdown, extreme violence, and the far-reaching impact of the death penalty. They also serve as a window into the broader debates that surround capital punishment in America. Alabama's approach to the death penalty, especially as it pertains to these women, raises questions about how our society and justice system deal with extreme cases. The focus on these cases brings to light issues such as the impact of severe domestic strife, the role of mental health and abuse in the trajectory of criminal behavior, and the difficult balance between retribution and rehabilitation. As we reflect on these stories, it becomes clear that behind every name on death row lies a complex history, a tapestry woven from threads of personal suffering, systemic failures, and societal challenges.